Hello everyone, Derek's Damn Toys, and we are back with another action figure review. Today we've got the Elite Series 17 Axiom, the first time in the line for this man, and well, of course, not just does he have a chase figure, but we ended up getting said chase figure on the first attempt from Amazon. With my love-hate relationship from there, I'm kind of shocked I managed to get another chase on the low, and I say on the low because I checked the price again. It is definitely not at the same price tier that it was when I first bought this, so I'm happy I bought this for 25 bucks when I did, and I didn't end up spending like 35 to 40 bucks like it is listed up on Amazon. And well, the chase itself is already worth that price, so yeah. Pretty excited though. The box is fucked up. Good thing we don't tend to collect mock around here. Of course, there are some other figures in this wave I would like to get. Maybe the Naomi and Rhea Ripley would be cool. The Grayson Waller would be nice, and so wouldn't the Seth too. The Roman I could kind of pass on. That's all whatever. I'm sure you guys have noticed that for this intro I did use a very special theme. If you're kind of catching on, I'm using the Sabu theme in honor of the late great death-defying, homicidal, genocidal, suicidal Sabu, as he did pass away at the age of 60. Of course, this is not breaking news, but I figured we'd kind of honor him a little bit here in the review, so there will be like a little 10-second edit in the beginning of the video. I'm sure obviously you would have seen that by now if you were paying attention, but just paying a little bit of homage to the great ECW legend that many loved. And well, I'm sure if you're watching this, you may have been a fan of him too. I don't know. It's more or less what generation you grew up in. He was a big ECW guy. He wrestled in a lot of the major promotions though. TNA, well, he didn't wrestle for AEW, but he did appear on AEW TV. He's done a lot of great things. So, yeah, with all that being said though, why don't we get into this action figure review now, shall we? Alrighty, you guys, now that we are, back from getting the Axiom out of his plastic prison, we can go over his accessories. As you can see, he does have two different sets of hands, one set already on the figure. This other set, a pretty nice Randy Orton-esque posing hand. I think they are a tad bit different though, just because I think the fingers are a little bit more bent in at the lower end, but they are pretty resemblant of the Randy Orton posing hand. Of course, with this one though, the special thing about this is it's got his unique hand tattoo, which is a nice looking skull. Other hand is plain, of course, and you do get this nice, beautiful NXT Tag Team Championship, which I don't think I own a second version of, or maybe I'd consider using these for like Damn Defiant Wrestling, I don't know, but actually snapped in pretty easily there, so a pretty nice championship, I can't lie. I love the way it looks. So enough said about that. Let's get into the Chase Axiom himself. Scooping him right up here. This mask head scan is absolutely great. I'm loving every little speck of detail on this thing, from the little bit of sculpting there for the back of the mask, which it is definitely sculpted. There's textures there. There's textures up here on the mask piece where there's little dots and stuff in the mask design. It's all sculpted on there, so nice. And I love the way this looks, especially for the pink gear. Of course, there is a little bit of paint splotching on the mask. If it would actually zoom in there, you could see it right there where my thumb just kind of was. But not terrible on the paint splotches here, which is great, especially for this being the Chase Axiom here. Of course, Got the nice pink sleeve with the black and gold designing there. Same thing on the other arm, but you've got the other arm with the hand tattoo on the hand. You get down here into the gear and same thing. You've got a lot of nice black and gold designs with the nice pink base gear. Honestly, I feel like this would be a great base for like a random like CAW type character or whatever. I don't know, like just throw a random head scan on there and boom, you're all set. Of course, getting into the lower half of the figure, you've got basic gold kick pads with, black kick pads with gold designing, and same thing on the knee pads here. So nothing like too out of the ordinary, but honestly the gear itself, I think it's a pretty nice chase variant. Of course, you've got the nice boot articulation, you've got the nice ankle articulation that comes with modern day Mattel figures, aka you can rotate the ankle just about any way you need to nowadays. These are actually pretty nice pinless double jointed knees here. Like neither knee actually gives me a problem, which is great. A little stiff on the one side though, but I'd rather have it be a little stiff than too loose. Got nice kick forward. The one side does kind of stiffen up when I go to do a super kick, but it's not too terrible. Maybe a little bit of hot water treatment might fix that. You've got the nice ab articulation on this Daniel Bryan torso. Waist articulation is nice. Everything moves really smooth with this Axiom figure here. Now, maybe we can get into a little bit of action figure comparisons. Maybe pose him up in his final pose. I don't know exactly what's going to come next, but you'll see. Alrighty, now I got a little bit of an action figure comparison here. I'll get Ridge Holland a little bit more stood up straight. But here's Axiom alongside some more of the other like NXT and or just British talent in general. I think Axiom's from Spain if I recall correctly. I don't know, I didn't really read the bullshit on the back of the box. Maybe you did. But I just know he's one of those guys from NXT UK back when that was a thing. And technically he used to go under the name of A-Kid, if you guys do recall that guy. That's who Axiom is. He was on the British independent scene for quite a while, and well, here he is alongside some of my, I can say some of my more favored British talent I have in my, or well, maybe even not British, but just like UK talent I have in my overall collection. Of course, I do have Drew, Sheamus, and other people from over around that way, but didn't feel like busting them out. These ones were all out in the open, so chose these guys real quick. But with all that being said, why don't we get him into his final pose and we can just say our final thoughts about this dope Axiom figure. Alrighty, you guys, I'm trying something a little new here, so I'm not gonna try to, talk too much, but when it comes down to it at the end of the day, this Axiom figure is super dope. I'm loving it every step of the way. I do want the blue variation as well, but this pink one, it'll just have to do. And especially with both colors being my favorite color, I can't really say which one I'd prefer more, but the chase, of course, is a great thing to get on the first go around, and well, I got the chase on the first go around. And what a beautiful color for the chase variant. Then the pink gear. One thing I will also add before I do get into my ranking, or well, my 1 out of 10 scale, is I love how much it kind of reminds me of like a Power Ranger type gear. That's all I can really say. But yeah, on that note, what would I rank this figure on a scale of 1 to 10? Honestly, I'm gonna give him a good solid 9.5 out of 10 just because of how great the gear looks, and it poses really damn well too. Probably one of the top 10 figures of the year so far already in 2025. And well, if I'm giving him a 9.5 out of 10, when it comes down to the Dave Meltzer star ratings, the 1 to Young Buck match, this Axiom figure is obviously going to get the good old solid 4.2 out of 5 stars, making it a very solid figure. And well, with all that being said, I don't have much more else to say, so I digress, and we can end this video now. So if you guys like the video, feel free to like the video. If you guys did not like the video, womp womp, I guess. But if you guys did, feel free to check out some of my other action figure content. You know, I do the reviews, I do unboxings and other stuff every now and again, and I also do pick fed content. You know, I do kind of take a little bit of pride with that. And speaking of pick fed content, the Axiom ankle has finally given out on my finger, as it actually cracked there. So we'll just stand them up here. Maybe we'll get back into what I was talking about here in a second. But speaking of the pick fed, we did recently announce our United Kingdom tour. This is kind of the arena setup for the UK tour. Of course, I did already start fedding in it, but we've got a nice little like meet and greet area and all that kind of stuff. Pretty neat things here in the Fed world. Sorry I yawned a little bit. It is like 8 o'clock at night as of me recording this. But yeah, I got plenty of different types of content for you to check out. Still at 368 views, or yeah, 368 subscribers. But you know, if you guys would, feel free to subscribe. After all, it is free to subscribe. And well, yeah, with all that being said, I guess we can get ready to sign up out of here. So with all that, let's try to repose this Axiom and hawk up on the top rope real quick, kind of make it look a little spiffy. But yeah, with all that being said, have a good rest of your day, night, evening, whatever the case may be. I don't know, because I'm not in your time zone. But if I were, would I enjoy my time? I don't know. But on that note, I am getting out of here. So kind of forgot how I normally end my videos. Can't really do all that, but yeah, on that day, fucking what am I singing? I just theme on this day, I see clearly. Anyways, on that note, like I said, have a good rest of your day, night, evening. I am signing off. Deuces, ooses, yeet.